Hey, good people. Welcome back to Podcasting the Next Level. I'm Dr. Brad Miller from podindy.com, the room you want to be in November 7th, 2026, to take your podcast, your income, your impact to the next level. This event is live and live streamed and very affordable. So get in that room at podindy.com. This is episode number 4 of this limited episode series of podcasts, all about taking your life, your podcast, and your income to the next level. We're basing a lot of what we're talking about in these few episodes here on the teachings of Cliff Ravenscraft, the keynote speaker at podindy.com. And today we're talking about how to break free from beliefs that are holding you back. Well, let me ask you something. Does your show feel stuck right now, or your life feel stuck? Or maybe you've tried to tweak some things. Maybe you've changed the intro music, or you've tweaked the format. Maybe you've even considered a full rebrand. So let's talk about a little different diagnosis here today. It might not be your content. It might be a belief you don't even know that you're carrying. This is one of the hearts of what Cliff Ravenscraft teaches in his coaching work. At its core, his work isn't about helping people learn new tactics. It's about helping people change their belief around who they are and what they're actually able to achieve in this world. Now, think about this phrase for a second. What you're able to achieve, what you can achieve. Not what you know how to do, not what you know you've done in the past, but what you believe is even possible for you to do. There are two different ceilings here, what you know and what you can do. So Cliff, one of the things that he talks about is how so many people are carrying around limiting beliefs, thoughts, emotions, behaviors that quietly keep you from living and creating at your highest levels, at the level that you were made for. I want you to notice this word quietly here. These beliefs rarely kind of come out and announce themselves. They don't show up as a kind of blatant thought, say, I believe I'm limited. No, they kind of show up as, kind of that practical, pragmatic voice in your head, or maybe someone else says it, that says, I'm limited. I just don't have the time right now. I don't have the training or the schooling. Or I'll launch the show or launch my second show once the first one is more established. Or once I pay off some debt, or once I gain some more experience, once I get the right microphone. All these things come into play. I'm not photogenic enough for video. I'm not smart enough. I'm not good looking enough. All these things, it's all on the surface. And the practical things on the surface can really crush our beliefs if we let them to. Those things are indicators of what the belief system is going on underneath, below the surface. Here's something else worth thinking about. Cliff talks a lot in his teaching about helping people rediscover their ability to dream big dreams. Rediscover. Man, I love that. It's kind of like reframing, redoing things. I did that a few years ago when I retired after 43 years as a pastor and leaned into podcasting, particularly podcast about my cancer diagnosis, and leaned into something bigger about that. You pivot sometimes, but it takes a moment to rediscover what you're about, which tells you something important. Most of us really need and are able to dream bigger than we are right now. We have limited ourselves. Somewhere along the way, we've been rejected. It's happened to me. It's happened to me in love, in my career, in my finances, in my health, all those things I've had failures. We have a flop in our life. In podcasting, we have a flop episode it just is not working for us. We don't get the downloads we think that we should get. We don't get the influence. We don't get the account that maybe we think we should get or the sales on our product. Or maybe there's a comment in the comment section uh, that just stings. It goes to the heart and it bothers you more than you really want it to do, but it still bothers you. So the muscle for growth, the muscle for thinking big can sometimes be pushed down by those things if we allow it to, and that muscle can atrophy. Now, the good news here and what Cliff teaches and what I want to reiterate to you is the word rediscover. That capacity in you, my friend, is not gone. It's just been buried a little bit. So let's talk about how you can get it back, how you can dig back out of that hole and get to a place where you are gaining ground, where you're making progress, where you're taking your life, your business, your money, your relationships, your family, everything to the next level. One practical tool that Cliff teaches is using of affirmations. Specifically, the power affirmations can have on taking your mindset to the next level. Now, I know this may sound a little soft, maybe a little woo-woo to some of you, especially if you're more of kind of a strategic thinker, spreadsheet, analytical person, A, B, C, D kind of a thing. But think about it. Think about this even in that light for a second. If a limiting belief is just a repeated thought that's been reinforced over the years until it feels like fact, then just the opposite, a deliberate, repeated counter statement of a positive thing is a legitimate tool for retraining or reframing the same mental pathways in your mind. This isn't magic. This is actually scientific. It's the power of repetition. You know this from other aspects of your life. You know this from driving a car. You repeat the same actions, you get good at it. You get better at it. Some of you are athletes. You start off walking and then you end up running, you do better. Some of you are musicians. You learn to play the guitar. First time out, you're terrible, but you get better. The more you do it, you practice and you build up the mental pathways. The idea here is to build up the positive mental pathways through positive practices. It's not magic, it's repetition aimed at a greater purpose instead of just trying to let it happen by accidents. Things don't just happen because you kind of wanted to. You have to embrace the greater hope, but then do something about it. Let me give you an example of how this works in practice. Say your limiting belief, and I hear this one quite a bit, is that I'm just not technical enough to do all this podcast thing, right? I just don't get it. Just don't get it. Well, the fact is that most stuff you can learn if you just take the time and you practice. An affirmation style reframe isn't pretending that's false and ignoring the reality that some of the technological parts are a little bit challenging. It's replacing it with something equally repeatable, but identity expanding. It says, it's telling yourself something like, I learned what I need to learn to get what I need to get done today, one episode at a time, one show at a time, one script at a time, whatever it is. And that's exactly how every podcaster, myself included, and I've done about 2,000 episodes, everybody, but Cliff has done several thousand, and everybody's done it one at a time. That's exactly how every experienced, seasoned podcaster who's getting any traction does it. You are not good until you get good. You have to reframe it and you have to practice it. And so that's what you kind of have to be bad at something for you to be good. If you go back and look at my early episodes of any of my podcasts, they really are pretty bad. When I was a pastor, my early sermons, really bad. That's what I want you to do. Practice and know that sometimes the first times you do things are not going to be so hot, but you're going to get better because it takes repetition and getting a little bit better every day. The 1% better principle applies here. Learn from your mistakes and get better. This is one of the ways that you take your life, your business, your money, your podcast, your influence, your impact, all of that, what? To the next level. So here's your challenge in this episode of Podcasting the Next Level. Take your limiting belief, whatever it is, and write it down. It's kind of like we did back in episode number 1. Write down your limiting belief, then write one sentence that counters it. Okay? So if your limiting belief is, I'm not good at talking on the microphone, that's your limited belief. Not a denial, but it's kind of a statement that where you're at right now. And write one sentence that counters it. Simply say, I am good and experienced and confident speaking into a microphone. And write that one down as well and repeat that to yourself. Don't repeat the old one anymore. Repeat the new one. This is not a denial. This is the expanding of your identity and your capability because you are capable. And say it out loud multiple times a day. You might even want to record it on your phone and play it back to yourself. Not because saying it once, you just won't fix everything. This is a repeatable exercise here. And repetition is part of the muscle memory, the mind pathways, if you will, that helps you to get this done. That's your exercise. Write down one limiting belief, then kind of set it aside and write down a counter positive belief that you can do this. And this will be an important part of taking your life, your podcast, your family, your influence, your impact, everything to the next level. That's your homework for today. Now, we're going next time on Podcasting the Next Level. I want you to stay tuned to our next. It's very important you go back and listen to all the past episodes and listen to the future episodes as well, because each one of these episodes builds on another. And on our next episode of Podcasting the Next Level, we're going to be talking about something Cliff Ravenscraft really built his whole career around: the power of the right room, and why mindset work rarely sustains itself in isolation. Important episode. That'll be episode number 5 of Podcasting the Next Level. So let me share something. A room you want to get into if you want to not be in isolation is happening November 7th, 2026 at podindy.com. That's where you're going to find Cliff Ravenscraft. He's our keynote speaker. And we also have Podcast Hall of Famer Dave Jackson there, and another Podcast Hall of Famer, John Lee Dumas, appears by video. They'll be making presentations there as well. It's a one-day event. It's very affordable. This is a room that you need to be in. It's both live and live streamed, so that's a room that you need to get in, and you can get there easily and affordably at podindy.com. So thanks for being here, my good friend. I just ask you to subscribe, follow this podcast, share it with others in your community. Until next time, I'm Dr. Brad Miller, and I'll see you on Podcasting the Next Level.